Holding Pesachim Pesachim and Aleph. Yesterday we finished speaking about where you have to check chametz. Now we're speaking about different scenarios that happen, which will cause you to check for chametz. Says the mission of Pesachim and Aleph. Ein cheshin shema gira cholam ibayis the bayis. We're not cheshish. We don't suspect that after you check the house for chametz, that a weasel or a mouse took chametz from one house, brought chametz from a different house into your house. Meaning, once you check your house for chametz, it's kosher. You don't have to check it again. There's no other shash that chametz somehow going to the house again. So too, mimakim namakim. So too, from one corner of the house, if you check one part of the house, then that part is checked. We're not cheshish that a mouse brought chametz from one part of the house to another part of the house. Why? The imkain. If you're going to tell me we are cheshish, if you're going to tell me that we are cheshish, that a mouse could carry chametz from one part of the house to the other, or from one house to another, then you're gonna have to be cheshish mechatz. So from one courtyard, from one house, from one courtyard to another courtyard, and eventually from one city to another city, then another safe. We're gonna say that the people check chametz in Manchester. If are gonna have to check the house again just for Pesach because we're scared that a mouse brought chametz from London all the way to Manchester because all the houses in Manchester are checked already, and the house will be passed again. So Chacham said, "Ain't that we're safe? It doesn't make sense to be cheshish, and therefore once you check your house is checked, and that's it." Says the Gemara like this: Taima the reason why we're not cheshish that a mouse took a chametz from one house to another, because we didn't see a mouse take a house. We didn't see this all way. We didn't see a mouse came into the house. If we saw befedish, if we saw that a mouse took chametz from a place that's not checked to a place that's checked, chashinan, we are scared. Meaning we're not scared. Meaning apidin, you're gonna have to go check the house again. If you know befedish that you saw a mouse come into your checked house with chametz, you're gonna have to check your house again. Or by b'dika, you're gonna have to check your house. Says the Gemara, why? What's the certainty that the mouse, if the mouse brought chametz into your house, you have to check? Maybe the mouse ate the chametz, and if the mouse ate the chametz, then there's no chash that the chametz is there anymore. And how did the mouse did eat the chametz? We're going to see from this next case that mistame, if an animal brings food into our house, the animal doesn't walk out again with the food that the animal eats today. Didn't we learn in the Mishnah? Masechta regarding tumah, it says, says if you buy a house, for example, from a goy, from someone who serves idols. So tmeim, the house is tummy. Why is the house tummy? Because it's brought down in those days. The goyim, or the people who served the idols, used to bury their corpse. When the Enun who passed away, they used to bury them in their house, and therefore, since they used to bury them in the house, so the house is tummy. How that fits together with that which you say that goy isn't tummy, it's a different discussion. But anyway, it says that the goy used to bury the Chachamim used to bury their corpse inside the house. So how long does the guy have to be living in the house in order to assume that someone died over there and he buried them there? The mother Torah b'dika. How long does did the guy have to be living in the house for you to assume that something happened? Therefore, you have to check the house if there's any corpse buried over there. So the din is 40 days. Why? Because 40 days is the time that it takes for a baby to be formed, and therefore he had to live in the house enough time for the baby to be formed, and then there'd be a miscarriage, and then I'll bury the kid over there. Even though he never had a wife, I mean, even though he wasn't married, not for sure was married. There's a different tradition from the Shainim. If we know for sure wasn't married, or there's b'cheshish that he went out with someone else and she gave birth inside his house. But anyway, the guy buried someone inside the house. But then the Mishnah continues: any place that's a place that's open for pigs, or the v'acher, or mice, or any other rodents to come inside, the meat-eating rodents to come in that's accessible there. And so they don't have to check. Why? Because we assume that they sniffed it out and they ate it. So over here, regarding chametz, we should say that even if a mouse came inside the house with chametz, mistami ate the chametz already. Just like by tumah, we don't have to check the house for tumah because we say that the mice, the rodents eat it. So over here, the rodents should be eat the chametz. Amr Abzera says, answers the question. Like Kash, it's not a question. Haba Basan, Haba Lechem, very simple. One is regarding meat. In the case of Tumah, when we say the rodents ate it, is regarding meat. And Haba Lechem, Mashenkim, Dikas Chametz is speaking about Chametz, which is Lechem, which is bread. So Babasan Mashayim, when it comes to meat, they don't leave anything left. But by Lechem, when it comes to bread, they don't consume the whole bread completely. They eat slowly, and therefore the cheshesh, then maybe the mouse only ate a bit of the bread and he left some bread hanging around, and therefore you'll be over on Pesach. Amar Rav, hi Mai, what type of question was this? Again, we just asked the question. It says in Masechta that you have to check your house for tumah. You don't have to check your house for tumah if you could assume that a rodent was there, because Mr. the rodent ate it. So why over here also? Why don't we say chametz that we assume that the rodent ate the chametz? So Amar Rav, hi Mai, what type of question was this? Regarding the case by Tum over there, there's a suffix. We don't know for sure if for sure the guy gave birth b'chlal, and if they gave birth, if they buried them, we don't know for sure. We're saying that if the guy would have had a kid, then he would have, or had a corpse, then he would have buried them. So it's a suffix. Maybe it could be that there was someone buried there. Maybe there wasn't someone buried there. And even if the suffix, maybe there was someone buried there, then we could say that a rodent ate it. So that's what we call a svek steika. There's one suffix. Maybe there was a corpse there. Maybe there wasn't a corpse there. And even if you're going to tell me there was a corpse there, maybe someone ate it. Maybe someone didn't eat it. Maybe the rodent ate it. Maybe the rodent didn't eat it. So we rely, since it's a svek steika, so over there we say you don't have to check the chametz. Regarding the chametz, the vadai, the chazin of the shaka, we saw beferish, we saw a vadai. There was a certain case that we're 100% sure that we saw a rodent come inside the house with a chametz. So that's a fact. After you have the fact, who said that he ate it? Could be ate it, could be didn't eat it. So therefore, after you have a vadai, you can't a suffix. The ain't suffix vavada have a suffix vavada. The suffix made from the. So Rabbi gives much more of a deeper answer than before we answer that. Very simple. Regarding meat, they eat it. And regarding food, blachem, bread, they don't eat it properly. Rabbi gives a much deeper answer. That what's the foundation of our chash? Regarding over there, it was a suffix. Since the suffix, even the whole foundation of our chash is a suffix. Shaking over here, the foundation of our chash is a vadik. And you're going to tell me that it's a suffix whether the mouse ate it or didn't eat it. You're asking me maybe the mouse ate it. That which the mouse ate is a maybe. And if maybe the mouse ate it, doesn't take you out of a din of a vadik that we for sure saw the mouse over there. Says the Gemara, do we actually say, do we always say that a suffix doesn't take out of a vadai? So the Pesachim brings out that the sfeikus we're talking about over here isn't a suffix 50-50. Because obviously it's common sense that if you have a vadai and a suffix doesn't take out doesn't take out of a vadai. We're talking about over here that you have a very strong assumance, a very strong reason to believe that the chash went away. But still, it's a strong assumption, but it's not a vad. So the Gemara is asking, you're telling me that if you have a fact, a stuff you can't approve the fact. But Tanya, we learn in the Brisa, if you have a Talmud Chacham that passed away, and he left a storage house full of fruit, even if they were that day brought out of the field and stored inside the storage house, it's a chazaka that the Talmud Chacham already took meiser, and therefore you could eat the fruit straight away. Says the Gemara, the vade tzvili hani peri. Let's assume, let's study this case. Over here, the fruit were for sure table. Why? Because he brought them from his field into his house, and there's no chance that they're not table. The suffix musarim, suffix le musarim, and it's a suffix whether he took meiser already, and whether he didn't take meiser already. We see over here that the din is we assume that the chaver, just by assumance, that the Talmud Chacham already took meiser. So we see over here, even though there was a vadai, there was a fact that they were meiser, by assuming, even though we don't know 100%, by assuming that the Talmud Chacham took meiser already, we matter the fruits, and by chametz also. By chametz, even though there's a fact that the mouse came into the house with chametz, maybe by just assuming that the mouse ate it already, come out to the house from checking again. Says the Gemara, no, don't bring a proof from there. Hasam vadai uvadehu. The case of a Talmid Chacham, when he passes away and brings the fruit into his house, it's a vadai and a vadai. Both things are fact, meaning the vadai maisa. The case started with a fact that was a short maisa. The vadai it was for sure tevel, and that which the Talmid Chacham takes maisa isn't only an assumption that he takes maisa. It's a vadai. It's a fact that he takes maisa. How do we know it's a fact that the Talmid Chacham takes maisa straight away? Because Chanina said, the Amar Reb Chanina Chizah Chazaka Chavesh in Meitzi Mitachas Yada Dabashin Mesukam. It's a Chazaka. Api Halacha, a Chazaka is one of the strongest things you can have. It's a Chazaka that a Talmid Chacham doesn't let something come out of his house by which isn't the Mesukam, which wasn't taken Meiser from. So the Havmir, the Gemara was that we said that which Talmid Chacham takes Meiser is an assumption. Mistam, if he's from Yid, he took Meiser. Now we clarify this by saying, no, it's not an assumption that he took Meiser. It's a fact that he took Meiser. It's a Chazaka that he took Meiser. And a Chazaka is one of the strongest vadors. Chazaka is a vadai, and therefore, over there it's a vadai. It's not a suffix made from the vadai. It's a vadai. Both things are fact. It was a fact that it was tevel, and we have another fact to contradict that, which is the Talmid Chacham for sure takes Meiser. So Mashenkin over here by chametz, it's not a fact. The fact we have one fact, which one vadai that the mouse came into the house with chametz. Mashenkin, that which the mouse ate it isn't a fact. It's an assumption. Maybe the mouse ate it. Even if you say that he probably ate it, it's only probably. It's not a vadai, and therefore ein suffix made him de vadai. That's one answer. Another answer. Again, so the answer was that we have two facts over here. The fact was that it was tevel, and the fact that contradicts that, which uproots the previous fact, is that it's a Talmid Chacham takes Meiser. Another way of answering the question is by uprooting the first fact. Suffix. In this case, it's a suffix and a suffix. Because why? We started off asking a question. That which it's tevel is a vadai. We know for sure it's tevel. And that which he takes, the Talmid Chacham takes Meiser is only a suffix. So here's a proof that suffix makes him the vadai. The second answer we're answering now is saying that who told you that the fruits are for sure tevel? Maybe the fruits were not chayv in tevel. Maybe the Talmid Chacham brought the fruits into his house in a way that were not chayv in tevel. What does that mean? Because Rabbi Shai said, a person can make a trick on his produce to make not chayv in truma in ma'aser. How do we do that? You could bring the fruits inside his house with the peels. So his animals can eat from it. And if you bring inside your house with the peels, it's mutter to give it to animals without taking mice. Why? Because you only chayv to take mice once the fruit are already musukah, meaning they're already edible. But if you have still dirt over there, you still have very strong peels that prevent you from eating the fruit the way it is, that's not chayiv ma'aser. So therefore, who told you that Talmid Chacham was the chatchila chayiv in ma'aser? Maybe it could be that Talmid Chacham brought the fruits inside his house in a way that they weren't chayiv in ma'aser. So therefore, the fact that we decided before that the fruits are for sure tevel isn't a fact, because there's a small chance, even though it's not a regular chance, but it's a small chance. Talmid Chacham brought the fruit into his house in a way that ma'aser, and therefore, since the status of that fruit of tevel, the fruit weren't from ma'aser, is only a suffix. In order to approve that suffix, we don't need a fact to approve that. Even with assumption, could also be approved. With assumption, we could also approve that. With assumption that Talmid Chacham for sure took ma'aser, also we must. So over there, you can't bring a proof of suffix with a vadai, because either two answers. Either over there it's a vadai and a vadai, meaning that Talmid Chacham l'chatchila for sure took tab, and Talmid Chacham l'chatchila for sure takes ma'aser. So it's a vadai and a vadai. Or another option is it's a suffix and a suffix, because that which we assume before that that the fruits of short tevel. Who said the fruits of short tevel? Maybe the fruits are potter from tevel, and therefore we don't need to have a strong thing to tell us that they're not tevel anymore. We can rely that Tamchachim is Tam and Togmeiser, and that's what tevel. But when it comes to bikas chametz, which you're dealing with a suffix and a vadai, because the case starts off with a vadai that we for sure saw 100%. We saw a rodent coming to the house with chametz, and you're going to tell me that a suffix that maybe the mouse ate the chametz could have proved that we don't say, because we don't say in suffix mitzvah de vadai. Okay, we're gonna stop over here. The bottom of Tess with Aleph. Next two lines is already a new piece. And we'll continue tomorrow with Hashem. Tess Amid Base.